So here we go with part number 2 of my eyeshadow palette collection and declutter video. I am skipping the formal intro today because I'm filming this before work and I gotta get a move on. So I'm gonna start off with this palette right here. This is the Aurora palette from Alter Ego. And this is duping the Natasha Denona either Sunrise or Sunset. I never can remember. But this is an absolutely stunning warm-toned palette. And this is just a lot cheaper than the Natasha Denona palette. But this is really fun to play with. It's one that I haven't used in a while, but I will be holding on to it because I just love the color story and the quality. This shade right here is called Dawn. It's one of my favorite shades in this palette, if not my favorite shade. And I'm sorry that I keep bouncing my phone around. I'm trying not to do that. But anyway, yes, I will be keeping this. This is the Balm Cosmetics What's the Tea? And I got this, where did I get this? I want to say I got this at Kohl's, I think. They used to sell the Balm Cosmetics at Kohl's. And this is a really fun palette. You've got these two different primers over here. And then you've got these beautiful, like, well, they're not really multi-chrome. Well, duochrome maybe. Shimmer shades here and here. These three and these two. And then you've got these really pretty matte shades. This one and then these three. Now, the thing is, this is a beautiful palette. It's really fun to play with. However, I have not touched this palette in well over a year, well over that. So as much as it pains me to do this, I am going to declutter it because there's just no point in me keeping it. I'm not using it, so I'd rather it go to a home that someone will give it a lot more love. This is the Fall For Me palette by Queen Nubia Cosmetics, and this is a Black-owned US indie brand that I am a huge fan of. Shakara, the brand owner, and we connected on Instagram, a while back, and I just fell in love with her products. And she and I would chat quite frequently. I got to know her and her family. Really just an amazing, inspirational woman, and I really hope the very best for her brand. This is a really pretty packaged palette, and then the color story is absolutely gorgeous. And we have these 4 shimmers, and these are all mattes. And I haven't used this in a while, but it is a stunning palette, and I will be holding on to it. Here we have the Makeup Revolution London. This is the Forever Flawless Decadent palette. And I like the packaging because it's, you know, metal, and it would be great to travel with. And this is a beautiful, fiery color story and really nice quality. I would say that out of the Makeup Revolution palettes that I've tried, the Forever Flawless series, I think, has the best formula. Now, I really enjoy this. I really do. It's a beautiful palette. However, I don't even remember the last time that I used it. This is not easy for me to declutter this, but I just feel like it needs to go to a better home. And my daughter loves these kind of tones, so I think I will be gifting this to her. This is the Tuxedo palette from XX Revolution, which is a Makeup Revolution derivative. And it's got this really nice velvety packaging, outer packaging. And it's a beautiful palette, really pretty, cool toned colors in here. Everything works really well. And I've really enjoyed playing with this, but I don't remember the last time I pulled this out to use it. I had big plans for this palette, and yeah, as hard as this is, I am going to declutter this. I mean, it's hard for me to give up a cool tone palette, but there's just no reason for me to hold on to this if I'm not going to use it. This is the LA Girl Pro Mastery eyeshadow palette, and I picked this up, I think, at Target. I think they're having a sale on LA Girl palettes when I picked this up, and I love it. It's such a beautiful color story. Wine and berry tones and some pinks, some salmon pinks, some neutral shades. Really been pleased with the looks I've put together with this palette. And this is one that I really think I'm going to pull in for one of my old school palette videos because this has been around for a while. But I will be holding on to this. This is the Cara Beauty Life of the Fiesta palette. And I think I picked this up at TJ Maxx. I think, was this the first Cara Beauty palette? No, this is not the first Cara Beauty palette I ever tried, but one of the first, and just fell in love with this brand, the formula and the quality of their eyeshadows. Now, I think I mentioned in my last video, they usually put pressed glitters in their palettes. There's this one here, this one, and that one. Now, the thing that I love about Cara Beauty pressed glitters is that they're very finely milled, and they're really easy to apply and to remove. And I just think this is such a cool color story. I really like this part of the palette, like right in here, the greens. Well, that's my favorite eyeshadow color. But, you know, lots of fun different things you can do with this, and it works very well. So I will be holding on to this. Then we have the C'est l'Amour palette from Gourmand Girls, a US indie brand that I just love. And if I can open it, there we go. And to me, this color story says love. You know, I think this would be a perfect palette to put a look together for like Valentine's Day because of the reds and pinks. This shade right here is called Wee, and it is so gorgeous. It's like green and pink flippiness. And there's like cool little embossments or imprints on the shadows. Oh, really cool. There's a G for Gourmand Girls and a leaf, the Eiffel Tower. That looks like a gem. Just really fun. This black matte noir is stunning. The shimmers and mattes in here, very great quality. And of course, I will hold on to this. This is the Seaside palette from C Color. And this is duping, I believe, a Too Faced palette, right? Or Urban Decay. I don't know. Anybody that knows that information, go ahead and drop that in the comment section. I just can't ever hold on to that info. But I just love this color story. I love like the terracotta browns with the teals. I just think that's a really nice combo. And I think I will be pulling this into one of my old school palette videos as well. Need to use it more, of course. That's a common theme in my collection. But I'm going to hold on to this. This is the Pond Lily palette from Ladybug Glow. And this is one of my absolute favorite palettes from this brand, if not my favorite palette. I don't know. That can change kind of on a daily basis. I just love this brand so much. And look at how unique this color story is. Beautiful range of tones, colors, shades, whatever, however you want to say it. And such amazing quality. Just stellar. I cannot recommend this brand highly enough. Here we have the Nomad Whistler Snow Lodge palette. And this color story is just boom. I love all the tones in here. It's really a cool mix of shades. Nomad Cosmetics nails it with their color stories every time. I have never seen a bad color story come out of Nomad Cosmetics, not once. And this is so much fun to play with. I'm going to be doing multiple looks videos with all of my Nomad Cosmetics palettes starting, I think, this week. Starting off with a different palette that I'll show you here in just a little bit. But yeah, love this. This is one of my favorite Nomad palettes. Then we have the Nomad Fire and Ice Iceland palette, or Iceland Fire and Ice. I never know how to say that. And Steph got this for me for my birthday. Not 2023, but 2022. And I know I've mentioned this a bunch of times. I wasn't going to get this palette because I just felt like the color story wasn't for me. I wouldn't know what to do with it. And not to say that I know what to do with it, but I really do enjoy creating looks with this. It's very unique and diverse. Just a really interesting color story. And the quality is impeccable. She's in Parties from Melt Cosmetics. I love the packaging of this palette. And I did do a collab with Andy from Andy Does Stuff with this palette. Melt was having a pretty good sale, and so I picked this up during that sale, and I just fell in love with this palette. Very romantic, wine tones, berries, mauves, dusty pinks, you know, just a really lovely palette to put together a beautiful monochromatic look with. There's a lovely gradient in this palette and such great quality. Galaxia Magica from Ladybug Glow. Super cool packaging. And look at how beautiful that color story is. Bright and vibrant and deep. Everything you could want in a palette. This shade right here called Light Years Away is this smushy, buttery gold shimmer shade. It almost looks like a pressed glitter, but it's not. And then we have these two shimmers that are just lovely. This one, it's kind of like a golden pink flippiness. This one's like purple and blue. The mattes in here are really nice. Just a really fun color combo. Unique and fun. The Beauty Bakery Breakfast in Bed eyeshadow palette. And Cece sent this to me. Beautiful, deeper neutral palette. I've only used this the one time, and it was just a beautiful look and very easy to put together. Things blended really well. Like I could get a really nice soft blend with these matte shades. I really like the tones of the shimmers in here. And I had never tried a Beauty Bakery eyeshadow palette before. So this is really fun, and this will be staying in my collection. The Natasha Denona Retro palette. And Darcy, the brand owner of Saints Angels Sinners, sent this to me. Totally blew my mind that she sent this to me. It's such a beautiful quality palette. And there are the cream to powder formula shades in here. I don't really know which one's which, but I've had so much fun playing with this palette. I did do a 2-looks video with this palette. Really enjoyed both the looks. I've used this off camera a couple of times too. Just really like it. This shade right here called Psychedelic is so beautiful, and so is this shade here called Glitz. The mattes are just this effortlessly blendable formula. And I just love the tones in here. Really a lovely palette. I'm very, very honored that Darcy sent this to me. The Saharan 2 by Juvia's Place. Now, I have not used this palette in a very long time. This is just not one that I reach for. I think it's a beautiful palette. The quality is just incredible, I think. But it's silly for it to sit on a shelf and not get the love that it really deserves. So I'm going to declutter this one. This is the W7 My Atlantis palette, and my dear friend Allie that lives in the UK, she sent this to me. I have not used this yet, which is just ridiculous. It's beautiful. I've swatched several of the shades, and it's, you know, lovely palette. This one has that like oily, beady situation. I do want to see what that's like though on my eyelids. I really do. So this is on my list to film with during the year of 2024. It was on my list to film with last year, but I'm going to get on it, man, I promise. So I will be holding on to this. Then I have a couple here from Sample Beauty. This is the Hydrographic palette. It is just lovely. Green, blue, purple. We've got, let's see, this is a shimmer, and then these two are shimmers, one more satiny, and then the rest are mattes. And I've used this before. Steph gifted this to me actually, and I have used this, and it's incredible. Just wonderful formula. The mattes are so saturated in pigment, yet they blend beautifully, and the satiny shades are just stunning. And this is another one from Sample Beauty. This is the Immensity palette. Steph also gifted this to me, an all matte rainbow palette. This would be so much fun to travel with. If I took makeup with me when I travel, I need to get better about doing that, not be so lazy. But I've used this before too. Beautiful formula. The mattes, again, are very saturated in pigment, but blend beautifully. The Dirty Martini palette from Glamlight. I got this from a friend. We did a Secret Santa palette exchange, and this was the palette that I got sent. And it is lovely. And I love this color story. It's right up my alley. We've got the grunge, the greens, the depth, the light, bright. And I think that's one of the reasons why I'm so frustrated with the Freddy Krueger palettes, is because this formula is so amazing. So I know the brand can do that. I don't know. Anyway, I got to get over that. But yes, I'm holding on to this. Then we have the OPV Beauty London Spotlight palette. And this is a Black-owned UK indie brand that I really enjoy. And I've done a couple collabs with this palette. And it's just gorgeous. The only shade in here that doesn't work super well is this one right here. It's called Dirty Martini. It's just, I don't know, just not as wonderful as the rest of the shades are in here. And of course, I will hold on to this. Here we have, isn't that fun? The Michaela 1 palette from Glamlight. And I don't really follow Michaela at all, but just saw this be released and saw the color story and was like, ah, and I'd seen other people use it and just wanted to try it. And I'm so glad I picked up this palette. It is stunning. The quality and the formula is just amazing. I've used this a couple times on my channel, a couple times off my channel. And this I think I will be using in a multiple looks video this year too. Then we have the Michaela 2 palette. And as you can see, mine broke. There used to be like this cardboard thing behind this, and it was full of gold glitter, and it broke, and all the gold glitter went all over the floor in here. That was fun. And this is a lovely color story too. We have greens, purples, blues, a black matte. We've got some neutral stuff going on over here. Really fun combination, and it works just as well as the first one, if not maybe even a little bit better. This is the Queen palette from Eloise Cosmetics. A queen lies in all of us. Hell yeah. And this is a lovely color story and a lovely formula. I have collabed with Steph using this palette. Have we collabed twice with this palette or just the once? I don't remember. But yeah, I really enjoy it, really do. I have thought about decluttering it though, not because I don't like it. It's just I haven't used it in a while. But I look at it and I remember how fun it is to play with. So I'm going to hold on to it. This is the Retro Love from Beauty Bay. Now I picked this palette up because I saw Andy and Ash do a collab with it and loved both of their looks so much that I went on to the Beauty Bay website, and this was on sale, so I grabbed it. So glad that I did. It's a lovely palette. The shimmers are that buttery, smushy, beautiful consistency that Beauty Bay puts out. And then the mattes are just lovely. This will be staying in my collection. This is the ABH Norvina Collection Volume 1. I got this at TJ Maxx and it was like, I don't know, $19, $20, something like that. And, you know, I've looked at these a bajillion times in other people's videos and was drooling over them all of the different palettes that come in this collection. But, you know, they're really expensive. So to find it at TJ Maxx and have it be so affordable, I'm like, oh yeah, I'm all over it. I did a 2 looks video with this, is that right? And, you know, a couple of the shimmers, I was kind of like, I mean, they're okay, but they're not like, but the mattes I really enjoyed playing with. The mattes are really nice. So yeah, I'm gonna hold on to this. The Nomad Royal Europe palette. Oh yes, Your Highness. This is so beautiful. I mean, look at that color story. This is a row of life-alteringly beautiful shimmers, and then these are all mattes. But these shimmers are just, oh, I haven't used all of them yet. I've swatched them all, and they swatched so beautifully. Just incredible. And like I mentioned, I will be doing a multiple look video with multiple looks videos with all of my Nomad palettes coming up here. And I cannot wait till it's this palette's turn. This is an OG palette in a lot of people's collection. This is the Modern Renaissance from Anastasia Beverly Hills. And CC gifted this palette to me. I could not believe that. And I had seen this palette, you know, everywhere on the YouTube's makeup channels, and, you know, heard people singing its praises. It's gorgeous. Really a lovely quality palette. The shimmers are so soft and elegant, and the mattes are just elegant and classy. Really easy to put a look together with this palette. This will be going nowhere. The Blend Bunny Cosmetics Lure palette. 24 shades for the Mermaid Within. I'm going to be honest, I've already mentioned this. I didn't realize that this was fish scales. Okay. Hello. This is such a lovely laid out palette. I love how it's arranged, you know, by like monochromatic columns. You can create beautiful monochromatic looks with this palette. You can mix and match. The formula is amazing. Amazing. I do need to use a different primer for the shimmers, however, because I use my P. Louise, and not that the shimmers look bad or anything. They got a little blown up as the day went on, but that's not the shadow's fault. Just I needed to use the Milani primer with this. But oh, I love it. And I would love to get all the palettes from this brand. Makeup by Lisa, Your Out of This World eyeshadow palette. This is a UK indie brand that Steph turned me on to. This is a lovely palette, lovely formula, really nice quality, wonderful brand. And Lisa, the brand owner, gives you the most incredible customer service. Been very impressed with her customer service. We have these two kind of satiny shimmer shades, and they're very misleading, because when you see them in the pan, you're like, oh yeah, they're pretty. But when you put them on your lids, they're very duochrome, very flippy. This is a really nice silver pressed glitter here. I've used it actually as a liner before, which was really fun. And then the cool thing is you have this row of like redder shades. Like this is more bright red and then deeper as it goes across the row here. Love this palette. This is the She Glam Deep Feelings palette. Now they were having a sale and I picked this palette up. I've never used it, not one time. And what I thought I would do is battle it against either the Blow and Smoke palette or maybe the Stone Cold Fox palette. And I've never done that. And it's literally just sat on my shelf for a long time. And I just don't reach for it because I have these tones elsewhere that I reach for first. So this I'm going to declutter. This is the Juvia's Place Nubian 3 Coral. Beautiful packaging. And this is a really pretty color story, unique color story, I would say. When I first got this, I wasn't sure how to put the shades together, and then, you know, played with it more and really enjoyed creating looks with this. But this is another palette I just don't reach for. I just don't reach for it anymore. It's wonderful. This is such a beautiful palette. But I do feel like this deserves a home with someone that'll play with it more than I do. So I will declutter this. This is the She Glam Splash Bash palette. And this was gifted to me from Steph. And I've had it for a while and have not used it yet. I think this color story is so pretty. It's beautiful, especially the greens and the purples. I really want to try to get some use out of this palette. And if I don't use it between now and the next time I declutter, I will probably gift it to my daughter. But I don't know. There's something about this palette that just sucks me in. So I'm going to hold on to it for now. This is the Artemis palette from Alter Ego. And this is duping the Natasha Denona Metropolis palette. And I thoroughly adore this palette. I do. I love this color story. I love just the varying tones in here. You know, it's really fun. Like the earthy, grungy vampiness of it. There's some bright vibrancy in here. And then there's a lot of really nice depth in here too. And of course, Alter Ego sells their palettes for a much more affordable price than Natasha Denona. So it's really fun to have this in my collection. Then we have the Evolution palette by Queen Nubia Cosmetics. And this is one I need to play with again too. I haven't played with this in quite some time. There's 3 pressed glitters. Then we have these 2 shimmer shades. This is very multi-chrome. This is just this beautiful light silver shade. And then the rest are all mattes. And I love this palette. I really do. I think it works really well. I love the blendability of the mattes. I need to try the pressed glitters. Haven't done that yet. This one has like stars in it. I don't know that I'll use that one. That looks pretty chunky. But these 2, look, they're very finely milled. Just haven't used the glitters yet. The Give Me Glow Juicy Olive palette. And this was gifted to me by Ash, Makeup and Chaos. At the same time, they gave me the Extra Spicy palette. Really fun. And I love olivey green eyeshadows. And these 2 shimmers in here are just incredible, and the mattes are lovely too. And I know that monochromatic palettes aren't everybody's favorites, but I really like this, and I like the fact that you can create a beautiful gradient with this palette as well. This is the B palette from Lena Lashes, and I had seen, I think it was Nikki Raven use this on her channel, and I just thought, man, that looks like a fun palette. Beautiful packaging, and then look at that. Look at how beautiful that is. I love that it's set up like a honeycomb. I love the formula of this eyeshadow palette. This is another one I would love to create 3 looks with for you guys. This doesn't get near enough love, but I want to change that. I want to give this palette a ton of love because I've used it before a couple of times, 3 times I think in total so far, and I just love it. I do. It's a really nicely formulated palette. And I don't know if this palette is still available, but if it is, I highly recommend you guys picking it up if you can. This is the Martine Cosmetics 669 palette. The outer packaging looks a little rough, and this is getting loose right here. Yeah, it's pretty loose. But look how cool this is. It's got this little, like, you know, thing, clasp. It's really cool. This is such a beautiful, deep, vampy color story. The shimmers in here are jaw-droppingly beautiful. The mattes are so pigmented, blend so well. Love this brand. This is a Belgian indie brand. I thought it was a French indie brand. I was corrected about that, which is fine. You know, I needed to be corrected. But yeah, lovely. I'm not going to get rid of this ever. The Moira Daydreams palette, Dream Series palette. And this I got in an Ice Cream Beauty box. And I didn't really have a ton of high expectations necessarily for this palette, and it blew me away. It really did. The shimmers are so pretty. Just very classy and elegant looking, and then the mattes are really nice. They basically just blend themselves, so I will be holding on to this. The Nomad Berlin Underground. I think this is my favorite Nomad palette, although the Royal Europe may have beaten this out. I love the earthy grunginess of this palette. Things work so well in here, work so well together in here. I've used this a couple times on my channel and several times off my channel, and yeah, I will keep this forever. I love this palette, so good. The Zodiac palette from BH Cosmetics. I've had this forever. I did use this palette in an old school series video. And, you know, some of the baked shimmers didn't work as well as they used to, but I need to use all of them before I make a real big assumption about this entire palette. This has a highlighter in the center, and then these are a ring of mattes. And of course, this is the ring of baked shimmers. I think BH Cosmetics makes the best baked shimmers on the planet, or they used to anyway. You know, this is maybe not the best quality anymore, but I've got a lot of sentimentalness towards this palette, so I'm going to hold on to it. The Yasmin palette from Miali Beauty. And this used to be Blush Tribe, then of course changed to Miali, and now both brands are no longer in business. And when they went out of business, they had like a 50% off sale. And I'd heard wonderful things about this palette, so I picked it up, and I'm so glad that I did. I mean, I'm bummed that the brand is no longer in business, but this palette is really nice. Really beautiful. The shimmer shades here, there's 3 here and 2 here. This one especially, very flippy, duochrome, dare I say multichrome. And then the mattes are just stunning and a really cool color story. I really like the tones in here. Urban Decay Naked Honey. I got this off Amazon. This and a thing of the primer potion for 25 bucks together, which I thought was a great deal. I don't know what that is on there. I don't know if I got maybe some foundation on there. I don't know. I did smell this palette I don't know, a couple of weeks ago just to see if it was still good, and it smells fine. I haven't used it in a while, but I'm going to hold on to this because I just think it's gorgeous. Love the golds, mustards, browns. I have a big love space in my heart for this palette. This is the Suva Beauty Magic and Ecstasy palette. Steph gifted this to me. I've used this before on my channel, and I have been meaning to recreate the look that I did for another video, applying this glitter shade so you can see how I apply glitters. Not that you necessarily want to or need to see me apply glitters, but I just mentioned, like, I filmed a video with a look on my eyelids from this palette, and I thought, you know, if anyone would like to see me recreate the look, I will do that. I think a couple people said, yeah, I'd like to see that, and I just kind of forgot to do that. But this is such a lovely palette. All of these pressed glitters here are so fun to apply. They really are. They look beautiful on the lids, and they come off very easily. The mattes in here are just pigmented and blendable and incredible. This is staying here. The Aurora Struck palette from ColourPop. I just got this not too long ago, along with the Fade into Hue, and I did do a 3 looks video with this. Man, this is getting a little bit blown up in here, isn't it? But I just fell in love with this palette. Such a great quality ColourPop mega palette, I'm telling you, and such a beautiful color story. She needs to be cleaned up a little bit. She got a little dirty. But I had so much fun with the 3 looks that I created. I did a deeper look, kind of a mid-tone look, and then a light look, you know, just more softer pastel look too. Because you can do all 3 of those things and more with this palette. It's beautiful. I'd wanted it for a long time. So when ColourPop had their sale, I'm like, I'm getting it. And I'm so glad I did. I'm keeping this. This is the Stone Cold Fox from ColourPop, and this is my favorite cool tone palette that I have in my collection. She's dirty too. I gotta spend some time cleaning up my palettes. Anyway, I really love this. I mean, it's my favorite for a reason. It just works so well. And the tones in here, the cool tones, are just my jam, you know? And yes, there are maybe some repeat shades in here. I know, I don't really care. This will stay with me forever and always. I just love using this palette. The Be Perfect Carnival 3 Love Tahiti Stacey Marie palette. And this is one of my all-time favorite palettes that I have in my collection. Whether it's neutral or colorful, whatever. I mean, it's just so good. So, so good. The shimmers in here are just an impeccable formula. Buttery, smushy, rich, delicious. The mattes are very pigmented, very blendable. So much fun to put looks together with this palette. I've used this a couple times on my channel. I did collab with Freya and then also with Nikki Lynn. And that was really, really fun. Just fun, you know? And you can do a bajillion, bazillion, kabillion, if that's even a word, if any of those are words, things with this palette, and it'll look amazing. This is the Be Perfect Carnival The Antidote palette with Stacey Marie. Now, I saw Ash, Makeup and Chaos, use this on their channel. They created, I think, did a multiple looks video with it, or just created, you know, a few looks with it. And I was like, oh, and they love this palette, right? And I really trust Ash's opinion about makeup, absolutely. So I was like, okay, I really do want to get it, but it just seemed like it was, you know, maybe out of my price range. However, it went on sale. I was like, okay, I'm going to get it. And I have done a multiple looks video with this palette before, and it's just incredible. Really it is. The shimmers and the mattes, I mean, you know. And what I did in my video was I broke it up into 3 parts. So I did a look with shades out of this spot or part of the palette, a look with these shades, and then a look with these shades, not all of them, but some of them out of those sections of the palette. That was really fun. And I don't know, maybe I'll do another multiple looks with this. I don't know if you guys would be interested in seeing that, let me know. But I'm so happy that I, you know, heeded Ash's advice about this palette and picked it up because it's one of my faves. This is the So Jaded palette that ColourPop did in collaboration with Kathleen Lights. I love the outer packaging. For some reason, this palette's making my phone go wonky. But my palette's going to look different than yours if you have this because I rearranged the shades. I watched Angelica Liramar do that in a video because these are all magnetized. And so I immediately got my palette, got a magnet, popped them all out, and put them back in the way I thought looked more aesthetically pleasing. Because it was, I don't know, the palette seemed disjointed. I adore this palette. It is stunning. I have used it before on my channel, and I'm considering doing a 3 looks video with this too. I have a huge long list of palettes to do multiple looks with. But really fun. Just a really neat color combination. A lot of fun textures in here. I'm going to hold on to it. This is the Badass Beauties On Patrol palette. And this has a lot of pressed glitters in it. This whole row down here is pressed glitters, and then we have a row of shimmers, except that's a matte, and then all of these are mattes too. Now, this has been sitting on my shelf for a while. I have used, let's see, this pressed glitter before, and I think, did I use this shade? Or maybe it was out, I don't know. I can't remember. I know I've used this one before, and it's beautiful. It's very finely milled. It applies beautifully. These shimmers in here are really nice, and the mattes are really nice. But this is just not one that I typically reach for whatever reason. I don't know. So I am going to declutter this because I know someone that would just love to have this palette. The Nomad Tokyo Harajuku palette. Woo! I love this. I think it's the cutest package palette. And then this color story is so fun. Pastels and this row of shimmers down here. I've mentioned it multiple times. They are life-alteringly beautiful. And then we have a row of satin shades and then a row of mattes. And, you know, this has been tricky for me to use because I'm not real proficient with pastel shades, but I'm really happy that I have this, and this will be coming in a multiple looks video soon because, you know, it needs to be played with. But yeah, I'm going to hold on to it. The Emoja palette from OPV Beauty. Again, this is a Black-owned UK indie brand. Look at how beautiful the outer packaging is. They are the most beautiful mermaids I've ever seen in my life. And this is a lovely neutral color story, but with some beautiful pops of color. Steph gifted this to me, sent it to me because, I don't know, just a little too neutral for her. And I've used this a few times, and it is an incredible palette. Beautiful formula. The shimmers are just, again, that buttery, smushy, just wonderful texture to play with. And then the mattes are really lovely and blend very well. And I really am happy that Steph sent this to me. The Nomad Cartagena Magica palette. Love the packaging. Now, I have considered decluttering this because the color story isn't necessarily my favorite, but the shades in here work so well. So I think what I'm going to do is see how I feel about it, use it for a multiple looks video soon and see what I think about it. And if I'm not just, you know, blown away, then I probably will declutter this. But for now, it's going to stick around. This is the Sydney Grace Tiny Marbles palette that they did in collaboration with Mel Thompson, who passed away a couple of years ago. And Mel was one of my favorite creators here on this platform, and I miss her dearly. I love the outer packaging, and I love this color story. And I remember watching Mel use this when it first launched and how excited and exuberant she was. And I was so happy for her, so happy for her. And my dear friend and subscriber, Tara, she recommended that I give Sydney Grace a try during their Christmas and July sale. And I was like, okay, I'm going to do it. And it met and exceeded my expectations, Sydney Grace, the formula, the quality. It's just such a lovely brand, such a classy, lovely brand, and such a classy, lovely, elegant palette to have in my collection. And to have a little piece of Mel in my collection means the world to me. This is the Morphe Boss Mood palette. And I think, did I get this? I think I got this off their website when they were having a sale. Or did I get this? I got this at Ulta, actually. I got a gift card for my son for Christmas, and I picked this up at Ulta. And I know that not everybody loves Morphe, and I understand why completely. I don't have as many of their palettes as I used to. And this needs to get a lot more use. This might be coming in a multiple looks video too. I'm going to be busy, very busy. But this color story just really speaks to me. I love the greens up here and then like the browns and then like the wine shades and purples. You know, I just think it looks really cool. And I've used it and it works really well. Just, it's a lovely palette. I did a collab with Alice, our perfect fall look with this palette, and it worked out really well. And I do think this is a very fall-esque color story. The Zodiac Love Signs from BH Cosmetics. I got this at the same time I got the Zodiac palette. They were having a 2-for-1 sale. And this is going to be coming in an old school palette series video. Again, the same type of layout. We have the Ring of Baked Shimmers, the mattes, and then the highlighter in the center. I mean, you could use the highlighter as an eyeshadow too. But I just love the BH Cosmetics Baked Shimmer formula. And I'm hoping that maybe the Baked Shimmers in this one perform maybe a little bit better than the Zodiac palette. We shall see. This is the Morphe 35C Everyday Chic palette. And I think I got this at Ulta. Did I get this at the same time I got the Boss Mood? I can't remember. Does it really matter? No. But I saw this color story and I was like, oh, I got to get this palette. It's so pretty. I love the tones in here. I've used it, I think, 3 times and really enjoy this. Very nice quality. And the color story, I think, is just so pretty. you know? And, you know, there are like these two shades are very similar, but this is a matte, that's a satin. Same as here. You know, there are some similar shades in here. These two are kind of similar, but that's a little bit deeper. But, you know, that doesn't bother me at all. I like to have, even if they're similar colors, if they're different textures, it's really fun to have palettes like that. So I'm going to hold on to it. And then we have this gigantic beast of a messy palette. This is the Morphe Such a Gem palette. And I saw this, I can't remember who I saw use this. I saw somebody use this a while back. I've had this palette for a while, and I'm like, so this went on sale. I picked it up. I just love it. This is a row of, they're called silk toppers, I think. Something with silk in the title or the word, whatever, description. They're beautiful. They're meant to be like topper shimmers over the mattes in here, but they actually work really well on their own. They're very nice standalone shimmers. And again, we do have some repeat shades, and I know, but I don't care. This is a lovely palette. You have tons of different options in here. I love the purples, the grapes, the pinks, you know, even though I don't always love pink shadows. But yeah, this is staying in my collection. Then we have the Beauty Creations Ariel palette. And I picked this up after seeing Shannon Carroll use it on her channel. And I also got those cream gel liners along with this palette and have been thoroughly impressed by this brand. This is a beautiful palette. Color story, quality, formula, you know, really fun. I think I might use this in a multiple looks video too. You guys are like, Erica, enough with the multiple looks. But they're really fun to do. I know that not everybody loves multiple looks videos, but I love them. Okay, back to the palette. It's stunning, really is, and can't wait to use it again. Here we have the You Can Be Spotlight palette. I picked this up off Amazon, and it's a really nice palette. It really is. It's very affordable. And for the price point, it works really well. Well, for any price point, it does. It works really well. The shimmers are maybe more subtle, not quite as like bam on your lids, but they look really pretty. And the mattes are really lovely too. I don't remember the last time I used this palette. And I have tons of rainbow palettes in my collection that I will reach for before I reach for this one. So I will be decluttering this. Juvia's Place Culture 2 palette. And Andy sent me a gift card for my birthday, right? And I picked this up with that gift card and thrilled that I picked this up. This is so beautiful. I love the tones in here. I love the arrangement of the shades. I just love everything about this palette. I cannot wait to use it again. And just really grateful, of course, and appreciative to Andy for sending me the gift card so I could get this beautiful palette. This is the NYX Professional Makeup Ultimate Utopia palette. I got this at Target a while back, and I love it. This is such a beautiful palette, color story wise, formula quality, the whole 9 yards. This shade right here in the center is my absolute favorite. This is also on my list to create multiple looks with. Oh, you guys are gonna get so sick of my multiple looks videos. But you know, I'll intersperse them here and there, right? So I won't, you know, saturate you guys with multiple looks videos. But yeah, thrilled that I have this in my collection. I know NYX is getting a little pricey, but this I think was on sale when I got it. So great deal, and it's a beautiful palette. This is the Beauty Bay Bright 42 color palette. And Cheryl, my dear friend and my soul sister, and someone that I lean on basically daily in my life, she recommended that I pick up this palette, and it's one of the best makeup purchases I've ever made. Beautiful rainbow color story here, really lovely quality. The shimmers, I would say, maybe are a little bit more subdued, I don't know, than some of my other Beauty Bay shimmer shades in other Beauty Bay palettes, but they are just beautiful, lovely, you know, very, very, this is, I would say, a more elegant, classy rainbow palette. You know what I mean? Maybe not as wabam as the Tahiti 3 or Love Tahiti 3, whatever, however you say it, but still a lovely palette in its own right, and I'm going to be holding on to it. Beauty Bay Midnight 42 color palette. Ooh, yes, I love her. She is so beautiful. I love the purples and blues. I mean, good thing I love purples and blues, or I'd be SOL with this palette. Everything works in here. Well, everything I've used so far works really well. I did do a 4 looks video with this and had a blast. I cannot wait to play with this palette again. So many beautiful, fun tones in here. And, you know, so many wonderful shades of purple and blue to have in my collection. This is the Martine Cosmetics Mission Triple X palette. I love the packaging, although the magnet is like the Arnold Schwarzenegger of the magnet world. Beautiful color story, vampy, deep, bright, vibrant, The shimmers are stunning. I mean, Martine Cosmetics has a really impeccable shimmer formula. And then the mattes are just lovely too. And a very interesting and different and unique color story. This will stay in my collection. Make and Bank from Morphe. That's always hard for me to say. And I picked this up, I believe, at Ulta too, with my gift card that my son always gets me. I love him. And really earthy, grungy color story. This is one that needs more love. This shade right here is so pretty. It's like a, I don't know, terracotta and gold flippy shade. This shimmer is stunning. Kind of a deep brassy gold shade. Yeah, I love this. This is staying in my collection. Nomad, America's Parks palette. And this is the first palette I'm going to use for my multiple looks videos coming up, because I did a poll on my community tab and this one won. This one won. Beautiful. The greens in here had me at hello. I've used this before on my channel and just thoroughly enjoyed it. And I've used this, you know, off camera as well, or away from my channel as well, however you want to say that. But yeah, I mean, if you think about America's Parks and then this color story, Nomad, nailed it, baby. Nailed it. Beautiful quality, lovely shades in here. I cannot wait to create the video using this palette. Elf Earth and Ocean. Love this. I picked this up after seeing Jen Phelps use it on her channel, or she talked about it. I can't remember, but just fell in love with the color story. And to me, this color story says Oregon. You know, it really does. Like, this is my Oregon palette. And, you know, it's maybe not the best quality in relation to some of my other palettes, but it still works really well. And it's just got a very soft spot. I have a very soft spot in my heart for this palette, so this is staying here. The Athena palette from Dido Cosmetics, I got this from Ipsy, and I love this palette. I really do. I mean, I say that about most of my palettes, but this is lovely. This shade right here is my favorite in the palette. We've got this pressed glitter here, but it's very finely milled, beautiful. Love the tones in here. Greens, mustard, kind of teal shades, this kind of peachy orange, you know, more browns too. But yeah, really fun and a really nice quality palette. I wasn't sure what to expect with this, and it really made me happy. Magic Mini by Juvia's Place. I will keep this forever. I just love this color story. I love the way it's arranged. I love the shimmers in here, especially these two and these two. This one and this one are my favorites. This is called Phaso and this is called Yamoja. Those are my favorites, but really like all of the tones in here. And this is also on my list for multiple looks video. Yes, it is. I just really want to get more use out of it because it's a beautiful palette and needs some love. The Festival by Juvia's Place. I have thought about decluttering this before. I really have, but I don't know. I can't do it. I cannot do this. I can't declutter this. It's just too beautiful. And it's really fun to play with. And the quality is top notch. So this is staying. The Saharan by Juvia's Place. Now, let me look at this. Man, I don't know what to do. I love this palette. I really do. But I really don't remember the last time I used it. I filmed with this, I think in 2022, and I don't think I've used it since then. So as sad as it makes me, I want this to go to someone that will give it more love than I do. So I'm going to declutter it. So now I just have a couple more little containers that were in my drawer that I'm going to go through, and then we'll be done. So the first one here, this is the Utopia palette from Beauty Bay. And my dear friend Allie sent this to me from the UK. And this shade's kind of blown up a little bit in here, but oh well. Now I will tell you, I was very nervous about using this because of the vibrancy of it. And also because I have kind of a murky golden undertone to my skin. And with these types of shades, doesn't really matter what type of primer I use, they look really murky on my skin. They just don't look as vibrant on my skin as they do in the palette. And this palette absolutely surprised me in that they stay very true to pan on me. And I just thoroughly enjoy playing with this. It's so fun to use this in conjunction with single shimmers or an all shimmer palette. So yes, I will definitely hold on to this. This is the Too Faced Hot Buttered Rum palette that a friend sent to me. And it's got really nice, that metal packaging. So it'd be great to travel with. And I really wasn't expecting much from this palette. I thought, oh yeah, it's a pretty neutral palette. Okay, great. And then I used it and it's just stunning. Beautiful quality and just a lovely neutral palette. Truly, it is. So I'm gonna hold on to it. This is the Caliente palette from Artist Couture. Now, I got this in a BoxyCharm. My daughter begged me to give it to her, so I did. And then a friend of mine sent this to me. And it is a beautiful palette. It's gorgeous. I love the vibrancy. I think this would be lovely for like spring or summer. But I don't see myself, I mean, I've used it. It is nice, but I just don't see myself continuing to reach for this. Yeah, I think I am just going to declutter this. I mean, and my daughter's used up all of the palette, the other one that I gave her. So she might want this again. I think she will. So this is going to go to my daughter. This is the Maven Cosmetics Cosmic Drip Palette. This came in a boxy charm. Beautiful duochrome little quad here. And I have used this and it works really well. But I have a ton of other single shimmers now that I think are better than these. I just do. So this is going to be decluttered. The Uoma Beauty Coming to America palette. Steph sent this to me. Coming to America is one of my favorite movies. I've seen it, I don't know how many times. I love Eddie Murphy. And this is a very unique color story. At first, it kind of made me a little nervous because I'm like, I don't know that I know how to put those shades together. But I've used it and I really love the look that I created. I've only used it the one time. Of course, I need to use this again. But thrilled that Steph sent this to me. I'd wanted to try this brand for so long and I love it. I'd love to get a ton of things from this brand. Orange Pop from Cara Beauty. And I got this, I'm pretty sure, at TJ Maxx. Now, I've also thought about decluttering this too. But it is nice to have a more compact, warm-toned eyeshadow palette in my collection. And there's two pressed glitters here that work really well. They're very finely milled. They're lovely. So for now, I'm going to hold on to this. The Nabla Cutie Platinum Palette. This silver shimmer right here is, I think, my favorite silver shimmer I have in my collection. It's absolutely incredible. And the rest of the shades in here are really nice too. Nabla is a really nice, lovely brand. I wish I'd hear more people talking about Nabla. They used to, but just not as much anymore, I guess. I don't know. Maybe I live under a rock. I do live under a rock. I've already determined that. But yeah, beautiful, more rich in tone, neutral palette, I would say, with just a life-alteringly gorgeous silver shimmer. This is the Unleashia Glitterpedia palette that I got in some PR from Stylevana. And I used it the one time I filmed with it. I thought it was a very nice palette, really pretty neutral palette, and I have not used it since then. And I don't anticipate that I will use it again, really, so I will be decluttering it. This is the Grape Shot palette from You Candy, and I got this off Amazon, and it's really nice. Oops, I didn't mean to whack it into my desk. Really a pretty palette. I don't remember the last time I used it. I've never used that shade. It's got that oily, beady stuff going on in there. I mean, I used to use this quite often. It doesn't really look like it, but I used to use it quite often when I first got it. And now it's just sitting in a shelf. So, as hard as it is for me to get rid of a You Can Be palette, I've already gotten rid of a couple of them. I'm going to get rid of this one too. Huda Beauty Emerald Obsessions. This came in a boxy charm. And this is one of my favorite green palettes I have in my collection. I like the fact that there's kind of like some brownish greens in here too. The shimmers in here are just amazing. The mattes are amazing. This needs a ton more love for me, sure do, but I'm gonna hold on to it. This is the Kakela palette. I got this off of AliExpress. It's duping a Lime Crime palette. I've used it twice. It worked pretty well, actually. It's a really nice little palette here. I haven't used it in probably over a year. So this is gonna get decluttered. This is a little palette of single shimmers I put together from We Makeup, which is an Italian indie brand. And this is such a fun palette to play with and needs a lot more attention for me. This shade right here flips to blue, this flips to yellow, and this flips to orange. You basically just go onto their website and you put together a palette, similar as like with Lethal Cosmetics, their little palette making portion of the website. Same thing for We Makeup. There's several different sizes of palettes. It does take a while for the palette to arrive, just because it's coming from quite a distance, at least where I live. So if you're in the United States and you order from We Makeup, it may take a little while to get to you, but it's well worth the wait. Maybe a little on the pricier side, but absolutely worth every penny. Their shades are just wonderful, and I will be keeping this. The Ruby palette from BH Cosmetics. Now, I've been holding on to this because I was born in July and my birthstone is Ruby, but I don't really love this palette. I really don't. I mean, I think it's pretty. I just don't know that it really says Ruby necessarily. I mean, other than that shade. This shade too, but yeah, I don't know. And I know that rubies can be on the pinker side of things. I don't know. I think I've used this once. I think I filmed with it once and then it went in a drawer and I kept it just because I was born in July. Dumb. I'm going to declutter it. The Peridot palette. This is the August birthstone BH Cosmetics palette here. And I just love the tones in here, the combination of colors. I love this. I do. It does have a press glitter here, like it's same layout as the Ruby palette. I'm going to keep this one. I don't know. I have a very deep fondness for this palette, so I'm going to hold on to it. This is the Huda Beauty Smoky Obsessions palette. This came in a BoxyCharm too. Now, I really do like this palette. I really do. The silver shimmer here is really lovely. But this doesn't get a whole lot of use in my collection. It really doesn't. But it is a very lovely quality palette. There's nothing wrong with this palette at all. I don't know. I almost kind of forget that I have it. So I'm going to declutter this. Yes, I am. I'm decluttering this. This is a Max and More eyeshadow palette that Steph sent to me. I have not used this yet, but I really want to try it because I think it'll be really fun. I've heard really good things about Max and More and was thrilled that Steph sent this to me. So, you know, I might be filming with this pretty soon. Once I get through my Nomad Cosmetics multiple looks videos, this might be next. This is the XX Revolution Platinum palette. And I've been holding on to this because it's got these beautiful, like, duochrome shimmery shades. I don't think all of them are duochromes. But it's so pretty. And I have used this and it's really, really nice. I just haven't used it in a very long time. And I have all these other shimmer palettes that I would reach for before I reach for this one. This is hard because I want to use this palette. I just don't do it. So I'm going to declutter it. This is the Fatal Beauty Frankenslay palette. I did win this not long ago in a giveaway. And we've got 5 mattes and 1 press glitter. And the press glitter looks so beautiful on the eyelids. It's unreal. It's so multi-dimensional, flippy, tons of different reflex in it, and the mattes are just gorgeous. And this is an indie brand that I'd wanted to try for a very long time. And I do have a liquid or felt tip liner from the brand that's become my favorite. So highly recommend you guys checking out this brand. This is the Cara Beauty Party Girl palette that Jen from Jen Beauty sent to me. I really want to film with this too. This is so pretty. Very vibrant. It definitely looks like a party's going on in this palette. We do have a press glitter here in the center, which I've mentioned. I love the Cara Beauty press glitter formula. And then these beautiful, bright, vibrant tones. This is going to be really fun to play with. This is the ColourPop Berry Quad. And I actually picked this up to create a look for my dear friend, Julie. She is one of the most loving and supportive friends I have ever had in my life. I asked her, what's your favorite color of eyeshadow? What's your favorite brand? She said pink, ColourPop. So I did get this and I created a look for her, did like a little dedication video to her. And I love this. I didn't expect to love it because pink eyeshadows aren't necessarily my faves. But this quad is the best pink quad. Probably the only pink quad, but the best pink quad I've ever tried. I will keep this. This is the XO Cosmetics and Beautiful Tragedy MUE Valkyrie palette. I've mentioned she is my spirit animal. I love how awesome this color story is. The cool tones, this blue shimmer shade called Bifrost is stunning. This one here, it's called Mjolnir. My husband can say that right. I can never say it right. It's beautiful. It's this beautiful silver shimmer. This one here called Valkyrie is very duochrome. And the mattes work really well. I have created a look on my channel with this before. Love this. Will not ever get rid of this. Raven's Castle eyeshadow palette from Makeup by Lisa. UK indie brand that I just love. I've used this a few times on my channel. Steph and I have collabed with this palette together, and I just love these cool tones. The quality of this palette is really lovely. There's 2 kind of toppery shimmer shades that I'd really like to top or put over the top of this black matte. I think that would be really fun. I have yet to do that, but I will be doing that. I will be keeping this. The Kathleen Lights Dream Street palette from ColourPop. This is, you know, the first real palette I ever got. And I just love this. I will keep this forever. I don't think the quality is as good as it used to be. It's not. But I had so much fun with this. I mean, I panned 4 of the shades. That's pretty damn good. I don't do that anymore. Too many eyeshadow palettes. But yeah, this will always have a very deep, loving place in my makeup loving heart. And I just could kiss my daughter's face off for getting me this palette and just igniting my love for makeup. This palette is the palette that did that for me. This is the All That palette from ColourPop. And I love this, really do. However, a couple of the shades just don't work that well anymore. This one is not doing good. That one's not the greatest either. So this is another ColourPop palette that I'm going to pop some of the shades out of that work really well and put them along with the shades from my Frozen 2 palette into an empty magnetic Z palette. I'll film that process. I think that'll be really fun, and hopefully you guys will be interested in seeing that. I just don't want to, I don't want to get rid of this palette, but I also don't want to keep the shades that aren't working as well as they used to. So I thought that would be a good idea. ColourPop Blue Moon. Oh, this is such a beautiful blue palette. This is one of my favorite palettes in my collection and my favorites from ColourPop. All the shades in here seem to work fine. So I'm going to keep this intact. But this, I might battle this against either the Icy palette from Glamlight or maybe the Bubblegum from BH Cosmetics. I could maybe battle all three of them together. I don't know how you do that. I need another eyelid for that. But we'll see, you know, who knows. But yeah, this is gorgeous. I will keep this as long as I can keep it. The Dallas Mavericks palette from ColourPop. Love the Dallas Mavericks. Well, I used to. I mean, I still do. I just don't watch professional basketball really anymore. But the thing that I love the most about this palette are these two shimmers right here. They are lovely. I used this palette when I did my, I took part in the Rocker Chick group collab and recreated a Pat Benatar look. And I just fell in love with this. You know, it's kind of a gimmicky palette, but they suckered me right in. And I'm glad they did, because this is a really nice ColourPop palette. And I really do, really love this color story. The Blow and Smoke palette from ColourPop. Yes. Now, I'd had this palette for quite a while and hadn't used it yet. And then Andy and Leanna and I collabed for Ash for their birthday. And this might be my favorite ColourPop palette. I mean, you look at it and you think, yeah, it's gray, silver, black. So what? Try it. If you haven't tried this yet, I dare you to try it. You're going to fall in love with it. Just incredible formula. And you can create such a beautiful smoky eye, such a beautiful gradient with this. I'm so happy I finally used it. This is staying. The Boston Celtics palette from ColourPop. This is my favorite basketball team to ever play basketball. Rajon Rondo, favorite player of all time. This is so fun. It really is fun. I mean, again, got me with the gimmicky stuff, but I don't care. I love it. The only thing is these two shades, I don't know that I needed those. I don't know that anybody needed those, but maybe you do need them, you know? Maybe you do. And they work really well. I'm keeping this. The Wild Child palette from ColourPop. I love the packaging, like a giraffe. And this is just such a beautiful, rich, cinnamony, chocolatey color story. You know, I'm looking at this. I'm thinking about my Berry M Nude and Neutral palette. That shade looks funky. I don't know what's going on with that. I don't know if I scratched it. I don't think I did. Or maybe there's, I don't know. I might pull some of the shades out of this palette too and put them in an empty Z palette. And then, I don't know. I'm not sure yet about this one. We'll see. But I am going to hold on to this because I love this. I do. The High Tide palette from ColourPop. And Oakley sent this to me for our makeup swap collab. Tealy Deliciousness. And it works so well. Really nice quality ColourPop palette. I'm going to keep this intact. All the shades I think are fine in here. I got to use this again soon. It's so beautiful. Such a fun palette. I'm really happy that Oakley sent this to me. It's My Pleasure from ColourPop. So now look at this one, and this is my favorite, you know? Just depends, I guess. I don't know. Such a lovely quality palette. All the shades in here work really well. I think, I collabed with Grace, Gel Beauty 87 with this palette. That was so much fun. Grace and I need to collab together again. I adore Grace. And yeah, just a really fun mix of colors. It's obviously more monochromatic, but still you got a nice range of shades in here, range of tones in here. So you can do a lot of different fun things with this. This is the ColourPop Star Wars Mandalorian The Child palette. And my dear friend and subscriber Tara sent this to me. Now, initially what I was going to do is I was going to battle this against the Sage the Day palette from ColourPop, and I just did not like Sage the Day. And a friend of mine was over here looking through my makeup, and she's like, oh, can I have that? I'm like, sure, because I didn't really love it. I told her, I said, I didn't really love it. You may not love it. She loves it, so it went to the right person. This shade did crack a little bit. Not Tara's fault at all. That's just what happens sometimes with eyeshadows. But yeah, oh, this is such a beautiful, grungy, earthy color story. Lovely quality. Thrilled that Tara sent this to me. Going Coconuts from ColourPop. Just a really nice neutral palette. Everything works in here really well. I think I will keep this intact and I'm going to hold on to it. That's Taupe from ColourPop. Beautiful taupey color story. This will also stay intact. I don't think anything needs to be tossed out of this palette. Love having this beautiful taupey color story. Baby Got Peach. I am going to be depotting some of these and tossing some of these too, because I don't know, they just don't work as great as they used to. That I don't like that pressed glitter. And I don't know, I just would like to keep like the 3 shimmers, I think, and then this shade. I don't know that I'm going to keep the other mattes. We'll see. I don't know. I might change my mind about this one, but I definitely know I'm not going to use that. But this is a really pretty palette. Really nice. Really pretty peach color story. Boudoir Noir from ColourPop. This is one of my favorite ColourPop palettes too. Love the golds, the olivey greens. We do have a pressed glitter here that's very finely milled. I've used it and it works really well. But really a nice, just a grungier, earthier color story that I just love. Flutterby from ColourPop. I love the packaging. I love butterflies. And I actually created a look for my daughter's wedding with this palette and just felt very pretty that day. I really did. I had a dress that was like this color. So yeah, it was just really a fun look to create, and I felt beautiful. And this, I think everything works in here just fine too. So I'm not going to be depotting any of these. But yeah, this is, again, one of my favorite ColourPop palettes. This is the Cashmere Forever from ColourPop. And I ordered this whole set. There was like a green, a blue, an orange, and a pink, I think. I gave my daughter the orange and the pink, and then I gifted the blue and the green to a friend of mine that lives in the UK, Allie. She is having a great time with those palettes. They just weren't working very well for me. And this one actually works really well. It really does. And I like the purple tones in here. And this would be a really fun purple palette to take with me if I were to take it with me, if I were to ever travel. I mean, I do travel sometimes, but just lazy. But yeah, this would be fun to take with me. I'm going to hold on to it. This is the Bold Obsessions Filthy Mess from Nonny. Now, I've held on to this for nostalgia reasons. And I do think this is Nonny's best formulation, this and the Soft and Sultry, but I don't know that I've used this in the last year. So as hard as it is, I'm going to declutter this. I mean, yes, I could keep it for nostalgic purposes, but I mean, it still looks like it's going to perform just fine. So I'm going to declutter it. This is the Morphe Color Me Cool palette. Now, I don't know. I love this color story. I haven't used this in a very long time. I think though I'm going to do a video like giving makeup a second chance, and I think this is the palette I'm going to pull in for that. So I think what I'll do is film that video, see what I think of it, and if I really just don't like it, I will declutter it at that point. This is the Morphe Just a Crush palette. My stepdaughter got this for me for my birthday a year or so, maybe 2 years ago, and it's really a pretty palette. These are the types of pinks I like because they're got a little bit more depth to them. You know, I mean, this one's pretty bright, but this is a really nice quality palette. This one needs more love too, but I'm going to keep this. And the very last palette here, we made it to the end. This is the Essence Ice Beauty palette. And I picked this up to do a video where I announced my grandson being born. My baby. Now, this is not the best quality palette I've ever used in my life, okay? It's not, but I really do like the tones, and everything does work well. It doesn't work mind-blowingly well, but it's well, you know, it's decent. It's just a nice, it was like $4. You know, you can't beat it for a $4 palette. I mean, it works better than some of the other palettes I've used in my life. And I don't know, this I'll keep forever too, because how can I get rid of a palette where I announced the birth of my grandson with this palette? You know what I mean? So I'm going to hold on to it. So that was my entire eyeshadow palette collection. I cannot believe I got through all of this. Wow, I have so many eyeshadow palettes. Ugh. But I'm looking at the box that I decluttered, and I feel like I did a pretty damn good job of decluttering quite a fair few amount of palettes. What I'll do is I'll count up the palettes that I kept. My stomach is growling. Versus the palettes I'm decluttering, and I will put that information in a little boxy thing and pop it up right here because I don't have time to count it all up right now. I was going to do that, and I got to get to work. I still got to change my clothes and dry my hair and all that fun stuff. But yeah, it was really fun to go through my collection, and it's kind of an undertaking because, you know, I have to stand up when I film and kind of hunch over my phone, and my lower back is just like, what are you doing to me? And I'm going to pay for this today. Oh, well, I'll be okay. Let me know what you think of the palettes I'm keeping. Let me know what you think of the palettes I'm getting rid of. We can chat about that in the comments section. I hope you guys really did enjoy this. And I just really, like I mentioned at the very beginning of part 1, I just really want to make some more intelligent, calmer, and more rational decisions when it comes to purchasing eyeshadows from here on out. I really do. And I might try another 6-month no buy. Stop growling. My stomach is like, I need to eat some. Thank you guys so much for taking time out of your lives to sit down and watch this video. If you're new here and you enjoyed what you saw, please consider subscribing, smash the like button, and of course, comment down below in the comment section. I love to chat with you guys there. And if you've been here before, thank you so much for coming back. I cannot wait to see you guys again in my next video. But in the meantime, please take very good care of yourself. Be well, safe, happy, and I will see you soon. Bye.
Drop it.